Good afternoon. I'm glad everybody is ready. One of the things that we say about the Bard Graduate Center is that our form of intellectual life is serious but informal, and that conduces to lots of good conversation, and I'm delighted. Of course, in that context, I will remind you right off the bat to extinguish beeping or vibrating electronic devices, and to remember to keep your comments to the question period that's provided in the program. So on behalf of the director, Susan Weber, it's my great pleasure to welcome all of you in this room and those of you watching on BGC TV to this afternoon's symposium. I'll just take a few minutes, hopefully not to try your patience much longer than that, with some introductory words of welcome and, of course, thanks. This exhibition and the one that opened with it last week are our 14th and 15th exhibitions in our Focus series, and I'll leave it to Ivan Gaskell, who will follow me from the podium, to say a few words about the Focus project. But something as ambitious as the Focus project does not come about, and certainly does not sustain itself, without the activities and commitment of many people. And so I'd like just to begin by thanking the people who deserve to be thanked for this process. First, Susan Weber, the director, founder of the Bard Graduate Center, for the vision that led to this project, to Nina Stritzer-Levine, director of the gallery, for her tireless work at developing the program of exhibitions in the gallery and towards looking always for connections with the academic program in this building down the block. To Ivan Gaskell, head of the project, for, to use his word, his role in midwifery, in bringing together professors and postdocs, often with limited experience in curating, together with the exhibition department on a very short timetable to produce these wonderful projects. And then the really important staff in the gallery, whose work is often seen but in the best of cases not heard. Marianne LaMonica, associate director of the gallery, associate curators Earl Martin and Carolyn Hanna, the exhibition designer Jeremy Johnston, and then for the project at large, Jesse Morandi, director of the Digital Media Lab, who's responsible for the interactives that you'll see, Kate DeWitt, the art director, and Daniel Lee, director of publishing, for the catalogs of the exhibition. And for today's event and all that you see happening this afternoon, thanks go to Laura Minsky, the associate director for research programs, for her flawless execution. So that's a lot of people that we've just named, and all of them play an important role in this project. So this project, in a way, continues a textile initiative that began in January of 2012, so some time ago, with the arrival here of a European Research Council-funded project from Zurich, studying textiles. And over the successive years, we've tried, through the various apparatus of the Bard Graduate Center curriculum, whether it's seminars in the master's and doctoral program, or visiting research fellows, or visiting fellows, or indeed exhibitions, to focus on textiles from various perspectives. And I single out Nicola Sharrett's project on Andean archaeological textiles, Urmila's project, and then starting next year, a project on native textiles of the American Southwest. All of these three that I've named were projects done in collaboration with our friends and colleagues at the American Museum of Natural History's Anthropology Division. And so it's with really great pleasure that I'd like to thank and acknowledge the presence here and support continually of Laurel Kendall, chair of the Anthropology Division. Now, why textiles? Why textiles? I think the show that's open next door and about which you'll hear more this afternoon gives a good example of why textiles are so important. And we'll all have our answers, but just to throw a few out, because of the way they participate in and document the lives of people, the way, in ritual terms, but also the lives of people in thinking and cultural and mythological terms, and the way they represent craft, technology, aesthetics. All of those fantastically important central themes in human existence, all of which are so amply documented, illustrated, and narrated through textiles. From craft, we come to making, and from making to knowing. Experimental archaeology is what this is called in some places, but I think if we take archaeology in the broader sense of Foucault and not that of digging, it's a way of saying that making takes us really into the heart of knowing how a society functions. And I think Urmila's exhibition down the street amply takes us on just that journey. On Friday, we heard from Georgios Boudalis in his exhibition, giving us as a powerful kind of lock-opening analogy, encouraging us to think of the book as a fabric. With Urmila's show, I think we are encouraged to think of fabric as a book that we open to learn about life. And so, finally, it's really thanks to Urmila Mohan for opening this book to us and for teaching us all to read it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter, and I'd like to add my own welcome. I'm Ivan Gaskell. I'm Professor of Cultural History and Museum Studies here, and as Peter mentioned, I also have responsibility for the program of which this project is the, however one counts it, 14th, joint 15th actually, because it's 14 and 15 focus project since the program began with its first exhibition in January 2011. This has been a program, this is a program that I think has added something rather special to what we do here at Bard Graduate Center, in that it is helping faculty members, visiting faculty, and postdocs to come to grips with what it means to explore ideas with a research agenda through the process of exhibiting. And as Peter mentioned, this is something that many faculty members are not necessarily very familiar with. So I think it adds another skill to their quiver. And I did a quick breakdown of the projects that we've had in terms of the experience or the position of those who have undertaken them. And we've had 4 senior faculty, 2 junior faculty, 3 visiting faculty, 5 postdoctoral fellows, and 1 gallery curator actually taking on and conceiving and then executing a project. I want to mention the 5 postdocs in particular, because this is the result of our collaboration that Peter mentioned with the Anthropology Division of the American Museum of Natural History. Those 5 are Aaron Glass, who has gone on to become first junior faculty here at Bard Graduate Center and is now tenured. So we have, this is a great aspect or demonstration of how skills learned in this process can be translated into academic advancement. Erin Hasanoff, who did a project on an AMNH expedition to Burma in the 1930s. Nicola Charat, whom Peter mentioned, who did this wonderful project on coca bags in the Andes. Sean Rowlands, who did a project, the most recent one other than the one that's just opened, on Oceania and the contacts between incoming colonists and indigenous peoples. And now we have, as the 5th of this series, we have Urmila Mohan. And it's really a great pleasure to be able to introduce Urmila as our Bard Graduate Center American Museum of Natural History postdoctoral fellow in museum anthropology. She has had a rather extraordinary and cosmopolitan and multidisciplinary education, having received a diploma from the National Institute of Design in Ahmedabad in India, a BA in anthropology from Victoria University in Wellington in Aotearoa, New Zealand, and an MFA in studio art from Pennsylvania State University, And then, as if that isn't enough, a PhD in anthropology from University College London, which she completed just before beginning her fellowship here in New York in the fall of 2016. Her topic of her dissertation was on clothing as efficacious intimacy in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So it's as efficacious intimacy that I think she is showing us these Balinese textiles. And that's going to be the topic of our symposium this afternoon. But before Omila comes up to the podium and gives her own introductory remarks, I just want to invite us all to acknowledge that we are here gathered on the ancestral lands of the Lenape peoples, their kin and neighbors, and that we should take that moment to acknowledge that we are not the first to be here.